The following video contains spoilers. We suggest watching the episodes alone in the dark. Merry Cryptmas, Wolfpack! 'Tis the season to be scary. Your favorite Christmas kitten, Catastrophe, is back, breaking into your house at night to drop off a spooky present. A new review to turn your winter wonder into a winter horror. We re-enter the Darkside. Because through some incredible miracle, this horror anthology accomplished something I'd never thought we'd ever see again. A rare, good Christmas spooky story.
This is the best Christmas ever!
Yep, Tales from the Darkside managed to not only be outstanding at horrific Halloween specials, but they were one of the rare spook shows to deliver enchanting Christmas nightmares too. And what better pick than the beloved classic Seasons of Belief.
So good.
Exactly like Trick or Treat, this episode's a legendary type for the show, which numerous fans adore as not only a fun gift, but one of the show's greatest entries ever. This is a top-tier title for many fans, thanks to the creativity, high suspense, and grueling dread. It's a plot which many point towards if you crave a delicious Darkside treat. Even I must admit that it's a standout epic, which is unsettling. Not many horror anthologies were exactly good at delivering iconic Christmas horror fables. While ripe for fresh ideas, so many of them ended up just plain embarrassing. Oh sure, the Twilight Zone's Night of the Meek is phenomenal, but overall, that tale still leaned more near light-hearted feel-good love fest over grim terror. The Darkside's episode was so praiseworthy due to it actually being one of the earliest attempts at a full-blown Christmas horror, rather than a heartwarming supernatural romp like most at the time. This title inspired works such as the Krampus film and Boogeyman-esque tales for future generations, thanks to its unique spin on combining the uplifting holidays with old-fashioned creature features. A very new concept back in the day, but we're here to see if it holds up by now. I have only heard positive praise and hype for this story, so you know it has to have tons of endless magic, which shaped it into something shiny. However, we here on Wolf Entertainment have also had our lame brain coals in the stocking whenever we checked out horror Christmas specials, and may find some letdown in the fruitcake, so it could run the risk of not being that hot.
Time to get jolly on your naughty asses.
Well, let's stop wasting time and unwrap this box. Is this title still a Christmas classic after all these years? Or has its dazzling lights burnt out? Grab your milk, cookies, and shotguns, because we're entering the ice storm to see. This is our wacky review on the Darkside's crazy Christmas tale, Seasons of Belief. So, our episode opens up on Christmas!
Humbug.
We're in an ordinary home with our main characters, an ordinary nuclear family who are having a traditional celebration over the holidays. The family don't have noteworthy identities, as they're clearly used as a self-insert for average families everywhere, which allow the audience to see themselves easily in their place, as if the nightmares which will occur might even happen to you. The unnamed family is very chipper and fun-loving, as they can't help but feel so during this happy season. Consisting of a typical mom, dad, son, and daughter, they're ready for a wild snow party. However, the kids are total brats who quickly grow bored being snowed inside, and start sassing their parents when they don't like being treated like children.
If Jimbo gets to open one, I get to open one.
One family that's going to have an old-fashioned Christmas Eve.
And wait for some old fat man to get stuck in the chimney. Right? I'm bored.
How can you be bored? You haven't even tried all your crayons yet.
I'm bored too.
Would it be wrong to punch a child?
Yep, it's gonna be one of those stories. The kids are smart-mouthed naughty twits acting up and thinking they know better, where the parents try to do all they can to recharge their holiday spirits. But the kids are so jaded that they don't even believe in Santa.
You know there's no such thing as Santa Claus.
That's a wicked thing to say at any time.
Now you'll have to be shot. The kids aren't evil per se, like Goosebumps protagonists, but super bratty, arrogant, and mischievous. They've grown naughty, thanks to feeling unimpressed by the old school traditions, acting like they don't need to be good, why should they? They got so many presents, so therefore Santa doesn't exist. They know their parents wrapped them cool gifts already.
You mean Santa wrapped them?
However, the adults sort of try to challenge their stubbornness by challenging their beliefs, with some subtle logic bombs and reverse psychology to get them to mature slowly out of their BS.
Tell us a story.
We don't know any stories.
You make up stories all the time.
Are you saying your parents are liars?
No.
Most of the first act is showing us their regular family life and the dynamic the characters share in, of course, an attempt to get us to care about the characters, and hint at some plot developments for later. The acting is pretty dang good in this. Nothing award-winning, mind you, but you do truly buy that these people are your average family, and see the chemistry they share all throughout. Enough that you don't feel bored or irritated by their wacky hijinks. I definitely find more amusement with them over the elitist butt wipes who hate poor people.
Humbug.
Most of the actors are fairly obscure. The only guy I recognize is the father, E.G. Marshall, who was the president from Superman 2. Looks like General Zod is going to be the least scary dude to cross his path. The family's at least fun to follow, and their tale spirals into sheer insanity once crossing over into the dark side. They all try having fun without our modern conveniences, but the kids naturally grow bored and stir up trouble, so the parents finally decide to put them in their place by telling them a Christmas story. But not just any Christmas story, a scary Christmas story.
Maybe I should tell them about the,
Not that one. It's too scary. Might even be dangerous.
Now what you're saying is interesting.
The parents want to teach their kids a lesson by sharing a ghostly tale about a dark Santa Claus.
I'm going to tell you about the most fearsome, dangerous, and appalling creature in the world. And it's called...
1 hour later,
So what? What's it called?
2 hours later, 3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
River? Rather.
Now you've done it.
You said his name out loud.
We do not speak his name.
The parents instantly grab their attention by tantalizing them with a spooky old-fashioned campfire story about this infamous holiday boogeyman to test their faith in magic and gain control over their bad behavior. And this is most of the episode. The fam telling the kids the tale of the Grither to build up our spooky monster. The entire appeal of this fable is that it's like sharing an urban legend or a spooky Halloween story, but set on Christmas. It's two things that don't usually go together being mixed as one in order to make an unpredictable monster nightmare. The mom and dad act as if they're telling a ghostly campfire tale, but by a Christmas hearth over a more sinister location, to ironically make a time of joy feel creepy. But what makes it fully work is that this episode is all hype and build build up for the monster. Ordinarily, this plot would risk losing points or get dull, since it's almost entirely a bottle episode set in this one house, with the parents simply talking about a cool monster all throughout. But the show absolutely sells you on this concept by making the Grither sound so awesome, which makes anticipating the obvious big reveal of him all the sweeter. The cast totally entrances you with this thing's lore and larger-than-life dread that you really want to see what this monster will be like, or if he's worth all the fear. A huge part of this storyline is teasing us on whether or not if the Grither's real, or just a BSOC the parents are making up just to scare the kids, as the story offers hints towards both theories, and delves into who this guy might be to keep us interested. I genuinely believe it works because all episode you're wondering when or where the monster will make his debut, but are entertained by the fables advertising him. I love the monster thanks to all his build-up, and the gross details we get hinting at what he might look like. It's a classic less is more approach to the beast, since what hints we do get are super effective at the eeriness, but shrouding the boogeyman in mystery keeps him vague enough to fuel even more dread. The writing allows our imaginations to run wild with this sinister villain, adding up his scary power levels. I love Tales from the Darkside on the same level as The Haunting Hour and Goosebumps, precisely because of how they treat their monsters, particularly these great ones, as these legendary type of beasts are on par with magical creatures, or infamous wanted felons, with the Grither being no exception. The Grither is cool because he's treated as this almost mythical, divine being, with his own lore and backstory, and the storytellers reward us vivid imagery. He's a monster of some sort who lives in the coldest, unpleasant regions of the North Pole. The Grither is clearly inspired by legends such as Krampus or Boogie, because he too is an all-seeing punisher of the night who hunts down bad people, who act horrible on the holidays to bring pain to those who don't deserve that Christmas cheer. While Santa loves spreading fun and joy like an angel, the Grither loves spreading death, pain, and destruction like a demon. The only way he's summoned is by the mere mention of his name.
But the thing he doesn't like most of all is to hear himself talked about.
Why?
Because he's the only one in the world. He thinks that he's very special.
Apparently, the Grither's the Darkside Voldemort. According to Dear Old Dad, the monster's ears are huge. He can hear you from miles away. His ears even grow so large they can morph into bat wings the more his name's heard. He has red demon eyes, chalk white skin so clear you can see his veins popping up Randy Savage style. He's constantly angry all the time, loves punishing bad folks this time of year, and his body can even mutate far creepier than before.
He has fists as big as basketballs and arms as long as boa constrictors. And whenever he finally finds those people who have been speaking his name in vain, he grithers them in! He grithers them in!
The show implies that he's this Lovecraftian eldritch abomination from regions unknown, which really sells him on this nightmare-inducing boogeyman image. I so dig that. This monster is mostly established through his stats card, but it's greatly done. You wish to see this guy and what true horrors he's capable of, especially since he may or may not be coming for this family now.
Too late now. He's already heard you and Jimbo say his name half a dozen times. He's probably on his way to our house this very minute.
Why, he's so infamous that he even gets his own theme song. Yeah, the Grither has his own evil theme song.
To keep you from taking his name in vain.
So that's why the Grither killed Tupac. It's kept up in the air if the parents are lying or not, since they know some very thorough details on a creature allegedly fake. Definitely fun, since you, the viewer, is guessing where this is all heading. Naturally, the parents are using this to discipline the kids, as the brats start to behave themselves a tad more each passing chapter. However, all throughout the campfire tale, we spot some spooky shenanigans afoot, and ominous omens popping up from time to time, implying that something may be approaching. I'm sad to say that this episode is not super scary like some of the other dark tales, since most of the spookiness is downplayed in order to force the kids to question if they still don't believe in magic or now do. The reason behind the Grither not showing up for a while is to treat him as some dark mystical force watching over Christmas and testing if you truly believe there's something in the shadows or not. In a twisted version like faith in Santa Claus, the parents do say that the Grither won't show up so long as you finish his story, and vow to never speak his name again. But unfortunately, the odd occurrences we see interfere in the story time. Every chance dear old dad tries to wrap up, some bizarre stuff stalls him every time, meaning he still hasn't finished.
I suppose you're wondering where...
Would you get that? I want to finish that yellow patch in my tapestry.
No! 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 No!
Yes.
These kids are so annoying. No wonder the parents want to shut them up. Well, better get back to drawing like normal. I hope the monster kills us. But the dread creeps back in when oddly we spot Dad talking with someone strange.
Where did you put the baby?
We're all here.
Oh man, what does this mean? No time now. Fun! The kids await anxiously, where we get a small pic of the Grither. This is a super brief scene, but this drawing is a nice hint as to what the monster might actually look like. Adds a strong retro horror vibe to this smaller terror arc. Pa returns acting strange and suspicious suddenly, but he gets back to dead time stories and spooks the kids some more with ominous scares.
They say that the only way this creature can be killed is...
Well, nothing left to do but finish this sentence uninterrupted.
Just when it got good, Dad's interrupted again. By who? It's the Grither! Psych, it's really their Uncle Michael. Not quite. Turns out that this was all just a prank, bruh. The parents were only messing with the kids the entire time in an attempt to scare them straight. This was all just a part of the plan, and Dad was calling Uncle Mikey earlier to jump scare the Tykes with his Grither prank. The kids learn a valuable lesson in not acting naughty anymore, and the folks won the last laugh. Although they admit this was all a joke, the parents do strongly imply that the tale of the Grither does hold merit. Dad comforts the two by telling them that the monster is all total BS some families use to scare their younglings, implying that the Grither is some kind of urban myth or tall tale, you know, like Bloody Mary or the Candyman. The old folks were simply using it to troll their kids for misbehaving, gaining a spooky night.
Santa Claus is just a nice story, and the Grither is just a nasty story.
I'm an old bastard!
A million times superior than Fear Games, because unlike that story, the witch was all total BS, which made the twist where she was somehow real all along make zero sense. While Seasons of Belief actually teases that the Grither is a well-known myth in their hood for years, leaving doors wide open, where we soon get our twist ending. Surprise, the Grither's real! We hear his theme song play, the house goes haywire, and he literally storms into their pad. They seal the place up, but just when it seems like a silent night, it happens.
It was the Grither!
Oh, honey, of course not. It was the wind.
Fatality.
Yep. The Grither was tracking them down all along, and he frickin' murders the parents for annoying him by crushing their damn skulls. The giant Muppet arms are a tad hokey, but you'll be too traumatized by the monster's sheer size and bloodthirst to take notice, as this finale unapologetically wrecks all innocence. Turns out the Grither hated the elders for taunting him, and spares the kids as a warning. It's the ballsiest bomb. Yes, this giant kaiju breaks in, slaughters the parents right in front of their children, and flies off into the night as the traumatized family are left in hallways decked in blood. And believe it or not, that's how it ends.
It was not. No, don't say his name. It wasn't Santa Claus.
They're orphans now. Merry Christmas.
And there's no trash pickup till January 3rd.
And that's the end of Tales from the Darkside's Holiday Slash Seasons of Belief. And it'll warm your heart with that Christmas black magic. This episode's so ludicrous and bizarre, but that dark, twisted finale is the star atop of the tree perfection. Now, some of you may be asking, what the heck was the point of this trauma? Well, if you haven't figured it out, the Tales from the Darkside sought to do a demented version of the old school children having faith in magic story. But instead of having it like a cutesy tale of believing in Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, it's believing in monsters lurking in the dark. A horrific twist on what's usually an innocent theme. In literally thousands of holiday specials, this would be about gloomy children or family regaining faith in the youthful magic of our world, or in beloved wholesome icons like Santa or Frosty. But the show instead aims for dread of a supernatural monster out there who'll get ya. The Grither, while not on screen for a long time, is clearly meant to be this boogeyman slash Krampus-like figure who should be feared, since if you act up during the holly jolly season, then he'll roast your chestnuts, which 100% forges him into a terrifying monster, as the twist displays how he lives up to that rep. While far from my favorite creature, the Grither has this unholy feel to him, is built up superbly, has a sinister presence, as all throughout it's implied he's been watching the family the second his tale was mentioned, and his appearance at the end perfectly shows how dangerous he truly is. Rewatches make it even scarier knowing he was here. He's not in the spotlight long, but his one scene is the grand fireworks solidifying his big bang. It's shockingly a pretty great Christmas terror, since it takes stuff we've seen before and drenches itself in a ghost story premise, but does it under the Christmas season to show off how both moods clash against one another in a story that's unforgettable. I think it goes without saying that the twist ending is what cements this episode's classic stats. It's amazing how most of this fable acts as if it's this cute, charming family picture with the gang all hanging and cracking jokes, then bam! Monster breaks in and kills everyone like a hardcore R-rated horror flick. This disturbing ending's brutal and makes the wait totally worth it, since nobody will look at this tale the same way as it began. While not a fearsome fright fest overall, thanks to the laid-back attitude this has for most most of the journey, I do think viewers will have wicked fun watching it, thanks to twisting a children's fantasy into something chaotic. The only real negative I have is that, yes, the kids can get very annoying. Sometimes they might do too good a job. The episode frames the parents as the bigger bad guys for spooking them with the myth and act as if that sick finale was them getting their karma, but they didn't seem all that bad. They only told the tall tale in the first place because the kids were acting up and they genuinely wanted to bring their clan closer for fun. So acting like the children were pure innocent in all this just doesn't sit well in my eggnog. Nevertheless, I'm happy to report that this house's decorations are dazzling. Seasons of Belief is a delightful old school creature feature told by a Christmas hearth for those who crave scares instead of adorableness. The acting's decent, the atmosphere's gleefully misleading, the plot is super simple to enjoy, you can feel both a blend of festive heart and unsettling dread. The Grither's a sick killer, and that ending, man, it'll make your naughty kids pray for Krampus instead. I believe this is one season where you'll dream of a blood red Christmas. So, I grant the Grithers galore a gold skull. Tragically, not a high place on my nice list on account of them wacky kids. Fortunately, I still say it's good as a whole, and highly recommend it. This is the type of Christmas horror storytelling I love seeing, remaining a Darkside stocking stuffer. Seasons of Belief is a traditional spooky fable with enough crazy, fear, and joy that'll gift you both merry and scary. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and remember, boys and girls, you be good this year, or
Demons will crush your fucking skulls!